Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends, as this video is brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. All right, so much to talk about in terms of the NFL. I don't even know where to begin, but let's begin with the Russell Wilson trade, okay? I truly believe that this is a very great deal for, I'm going to say both teams. But I'm going to also say that this didn't have to happen. We'll get to that in a second. I think it was a great trade for the Denver Broncos because the Denver Broncos are one quarterback away from being a playoff team. You've got Cortland Sutton, you've got Albert O, you've got Jerry Jeudy, you've got Tim Patrick, you've got Javonte Williams, you've got a solid enough defense. You had Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater as your quarterback, and that's not going to fly. That's not going to fly in the NFL. So you have to go, you get yourself Russell Wilson, you get yourself a Hall of Famer, you get yourself a superstar, and you give yourself a chance to win. I admire that. I love it. Is Wilson on the downside of his career? Yes. Is he the same guy that he used to be? No. Can he still perform though? Yeah, he still can. Now, let's take a look at Seattle Seahawks for a second. Do I think they made a mistake? In that, yes, they did. In that, they should have fired Pete Carroll or asked him to resign and keep Russell Wilson. Why? Pete Carroll's 70 years old. And I'm not saying 70 is old, but I'm just saying Pete Carroll doesn't have that many more years as a head coach. Russell Wilson probably has another 3 to 4 years. You have Tyler Lockett. You have DK Metcalf. You have a team that's in win now mode, but you've got a coach whose philosophy goes against the quarterback's philosophy. So I would have chosen Russell Wilson and not Pete Carroll. They obviously didn't feel the same in Seattle, and there goes Russell Wilson. Now, for Seattle, do they get Shelby Harris? Yes, he's solid. Do they get Noah Fant? Yeah, he's really solid. Do they get Drew Lock? He's fine. I mean, he's a backup in the NFL. Maybe he can start a game or two, but he's not a guy that you want to start, your entire season with. And you got a boatload of picks. So you take that number 9 pick. Maybe you use it to move up a little bit more. Maybe you take a 9 and a 1 and a 3 or something like that, and you move up to get a better pick, and maybe you get Malik Willis. Maybe you make a deal for him or something like that. I think that would be a really good idea. So, Seattle is in a position, you've got to make Metcalf and Lockett happy. Because if you don't, you're in big trouble. What are you going to do? Trade Lockett? If you trade Lockett and you don't have Russell Wilson anymore, what are you going to do with DK Metcalf? Let me tell you something. You don't want to see that guy who doesn't try because you'll be looking at DK Metcalf loafing out there. That's not what you want either. So do you want to get rid of Metcalf, Lockett, and Wilson and start over? I would be okay with that if you traded Metcalf for a first-round pick and then use that on Olave or Garrett Wilson or something like that, and you really just went for the full rebuild. You want the full rebuild? I get it. But it's still not a move I would have done. I would have invested in Russell Wilson. I would have fired Pete Carroll. But if you're going to keep Pete Carroll, you might as well start over, and you got a lot for Russell Wilson. So I can't complain there. So I will give the higher marks to the Broncos, but I don't hate it for the Seahawks. Okay, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers going back to Green Bay. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Aaron Rodgers is playing for his legacy at this point. Why would you go to the AFC where you have Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and oh, by the way, Russell Wilson? In the NFC, you've got Daniel Jones, you've got Jalen Hurts, you got Kirk Cousins, you got a bunch of palookas out there. So, Aaron Rodgers should be in a Super Bowl in the next couple of years. It's either him or Matthew Stafford. So, you come back with Devontae Adams. You've got A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. They go get him another receiver, which he certainly needs because Valdez-Scantling's just not good enough. And, you're really maybe 1 or 2 games away from a Super Bowl every year. It's a good move. Now, the Packers want him because he's Aaron Rodgers. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a terrific player. And you're going to hitch your wagon to him. And, of course, that if Rodgers was gone, you're going to lose Devontae Adams too. So what do you lose? Jordan Love? Come on, that was a terrible pick. It was a terrible idea when you did it. It's a terrible idea now. It's never gotten better, right? It's never gotten better. Now, would I trade Jordan Love to, let's say, the Seahawks? Sure. If I'm the Seahawks and I have Jordan Love and I have Drew Lock, I could see what I have there. But of course, the Packers aren't going to do that. They're just not going to like go in on the 5th year for Jordan Love because he's not worth the money. He's just not that great a player. So, like what the Packers did, Aaron Rodgers is going to get paid. That's what he does. That's what players like that do. They get paid. I absolutely and unequivocally hated the move by the Washington Commanders today. Carson Wentz is not good. When you need to go to Jacksonville to beat the Jaguars on the road to make the playoffs, and you can't win that game, and moreover, you look badly doing it, that's not a guy that I want to bring in. Heineke was not a great player, but I take him all day, every day over Carson Wentz, who I believe has failed in a couple of franchises. He went to Frank Reich, who knew him the best, and he didn't succeed there. What makes Ron Rivera think he's going to go to Washington and succeed there? I mean, this is just desperation. Now, good on the Colts. The Colts didn't want Wentz. The Colts will go find somebody in free agency. Maybe they'll find Mitch Trubisky or Marcus Mariota or somebody like that, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Frank Reich will work them up there, no problem. And they got themselves 3 picks for Carson Wentz, who they didn't want to keep anyway. So good on the Indianapolis Colts. And all this stuff is coming out that, the team hated Wentz. They never really wanted him. He was a disaster. So that they got rid of him for 3 picks. Great job by Indianapolis. And I think Washington, I'm already regretting that for them as it is. It's really, really not that good. So what teams need quarterbacks now? I don't think Tennessee needs a quarterback. Ryan Tannehill's fine. He had a bad game. We all have bad games sometimes. Okay? Let's get over it. Washington gets their quarterback. Denver gets their quarterback. Green Bay gets their quarterback. The Steelers do not. They don't want Deshaun Watson because that's not a Steeler thing to do. Could the Steelers get a Jameis Winston? Maybe. Could they get a Mariota? Maybe. Could they get a Trubisky? Maybe. Could they get a Fitzpatrick? Maybe. Or do you just stay with Mason Rudolph and or Dwayne Haskins? There are good quarterbacks in this draft. I do like Kenny Pickett. I do like Matt Corral. I do like Malik Willis. I think these are talented players who can have success in the NFL. It just might take them some time to get where they need to be, right? Because it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen that quickly. So let me talk about a couple more things. The franchise tags. Firstly, I don't blame the Dolphins for signing Mike Gesicki for franchising him. I think it was the right move. Tight ends are hard to come by. He knows the offense. He's a big target. He's good in the red zone. Tua needs all the targets he can find. I think the Dallas Cowboys did the absolute right thing with Dawson Schultz. I mean, Dak Prescott went to him early and often all season long. Made a lot of sense to me. I think that was a good move. I didn't like the Browns doing that to David Njoku. Makes no sense when you have Austin Hooper there and Harrison Bryant. So that was a little sus to me. I didn't really understand that. Other guys, Jesse Bates, that was a good one. I mean, we'll see them as they go. Sometimes you just got Chris Godwin. I thought Chris Godwin was very smart. The Buccaneers, they're going to lose Leonard Fournette. They're going to lose Rojo. They've already lost Tom Brady. I believe Rob Gronkowski is going to be out of there too. You can't lose Godwin and Evans. It's the only part of your team that you have. And I do think the Buccaneers are in a market for a quarterback. I do. I think that, don't tell me Blaine Gabbert. I'm not buying into the Blaine Gabbert appearance there. I'm absolutely not buying that one bit. Not one bit. I think the problem that we're seeing here is that there aren't a lot of great quarterbacks this year. And there aren't a lot of great free agent quarterbacks this year. So it's going to be hard for some. And this draft is weak in the skill players. There's a few running backs that are good. There's a few tight ends that are good. It's a good wide receiver class. But outside of that, this is really more of a defensive and offensive lineman class. So you can make your team deeper in this draft, but I don't think that this is a star-driven draft. And those teams who are picking in the top 10, I think it's going to be harder for them to make these trades because teams are like, you know what? Kenny Pickett, if I get him, great. If I don't, that's great too. I don't think people are going to fall in love with players. Maybe Willis, maybe Olave, maybe, but nobody falls in love with running backs. I mean, people may like Breece Hall, but they're not going to trade up to the first round and get him like they did in the old days. So I think we're going to see some teams struggle this offseason because there's not a lot out there. And that's going to make for some very unhappy fan bases. I really believe that. I'm just excited that we're talking football. I'm excited that we're breaking down these moves. I'm excited for the Broncos. I really am. Do I love the fact that that division has Herbert, Mahomes, Wilson, and Carr? I mean, that's a messy division, but, I'm excited to watch those games. And, man, if I had season tickets for any of those teams, I'd be really excited. I mean, I'm excited if I'm a Packers fan right now, getting Aaron Rodgers for another 3 to 4 years. That's pretty exciting. For Seattle, I'm not excited, but I know that my team was in the middle, and being in the middle gets you squashed like a grape. That's not where you want to be in Dynasty. That's not where you want to be in any league. You want to emerge and you want to be great. And I don't think anything was going to happen there with the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson. It just was failing and not going to be successful. Okay. What I'm going to do is, as there's more football information, we're going to get it out here. We're going to get it out in articles to you. We're going to get it out in podcasts. We're going to be bringing out Dynasty information. We're going to be bringing out best ball information. I've got Derek Tate bringing out our NFL draft information. We've got a lot of football here coming at drroto.com, and we're very excited to bring it to you. But right now it's time to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. I'll be on Sirius XM this Saturday and Sunday from 9 to 11 a.m. Hope that you're listening and give me a call in and say hi. All right, this is Dr. Roto saying be well, take care.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.